Let's talk about this. Why X-Men 97 is what Marvel Studio needs right now. X-Men 97 is what Marvel Studios need right now. Is because the last few Marvel shows, and this is going live action, well, they really don't have too many anime shows. If there was one, you comment below, let me know. Really, nobody was talking about the anime shows like that. Their last few live action shows have been horrendously bad, ladies and gentlemen. Their shows have been mediocre at best, trash at best, garbage at best. Films have been not well received. So Marvel has been having a lot of bad strings of flops and mediocre. And this hasn't been like, oh well, Marvel was good at one point, and then this is that. Because I was seeing some stuff online like, y'all wait till Deadpool comes out. Okay, here's another thing though. That is a 20th Century Fox film. That film was going to be good regardless if Marvel came in or not. If Disney bought out the studio or not. Because it's Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool, and that's already a proven property before before the Disney bought out 20th Century Fox. Now, Deadpool 3, whatever, has more tools to use in the toolbox because now they're under the umbrella of Disney and Marvel. So, I mean, pretty much all it did was give them, this film will more likely make probably close to $1 billion. You know, that's what I think. Will it make as much as the first one or the second one? I'm not saying that, but it's going to make close to $1 billion because it really don't have no competition. But you don't count that. It's like Spider-Man No Way Home. You don't count that because that was a joint production with Sony. But people want to count that. No, this is not all Sony. Now, don't get me wrong. Sony gets all the credit when they do good things, and they get all the bad when they do bad things. Matter Web is all Sony's garbage. That's all Sony. However, they get credit because they're the one who got Tobey Maguire. They're the one that got Andrew Garfield. They're the one that got majority of these villains back. Just because Kevin Feige came up with the idea, Sony was the one that executed. Was it a good execution? No. But it is what it is. The point I'm trying to make here, X-Men 97 is what Marvel needs right now because Marvel has had nothing but flops, bad, just mediocre projects, excuse me. The Secret Invasion was arguably the worst show they could do and the easiest ones they could have done. Like, to me, Secret Invasion should have been an Avengers film. A 2-part Avengers film. They squandered it on a television show. And if you had a blueprint with Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, how did you fuck that up? It's beyond me. But that's neither here or there. But right now, people are talking highly of Marvel right now. This is the most praise Marvel has gotten in quite some time. Okay? And it's been a minute. And I think Kevin Feige needs to read the room and needs to focus on the X-Men. I understand there was rumors coming out that they were changing the name. Fuck that. Don't do that. Do the X-Men. Do these versions of the X-Men. That's what people love. Follow those comic books that Jim Lee and all of them did. Chris Claremont, all these cats did. Stan Lee. Follow that source material. Do not follow today's source material. Follow the old source material. You don't need a diverse X-Men up. They already have a diverse cast up. You don't need to follow this, that. They already have a diverse group of characters. The X-Men, I love how people say X-Men was always woke. They were never woke. They was always diverse. There was always well-written, diverse characters in this form of media for years. Okay? They've written them for years. You don't need to woke it up. You don't need to do none of that. You don't need to put your identity politics in there. They already have it in there. But see, the problem with Disney is, I have a feeling, is they want to put their own spin on it. You don't need to spin shit. Follow the source material. Follow what has came before and just follow it. The X-Men 97 follow what came before. And it works. It's not that hard. The underlining tone is the best way to go. I don't need you to tell me you hate this person because she's black. Just don't mention it. I don't need you to tell me you hate this person because she's a female or male. Don't mention it. We'll know. We knew when we watched the show back in the day, even as a kid, I kind of looked at this like, wow, this is different, because I've never seen a show like this where straight up human beings coming out and saying, get out, we don't like you, we hate you. And that's what made X-Men so great. That's why people love it so much. That's why people can relate to it so much. They didn't tell us by sending us a message. They told us by underlining tones and told us with great characters. Now, them going to the moon and all these other places, that was fun and dandy too, but X-Men, they had to spice it up a little bit. That's fine. What Kevin Feige needs to do is listen to the fans, follow that. Don't worry about another Avengers. Do an X-Men film. Don't worry about Avengers was it Secret Wars? Do another X-Men film. Do another X-Men film. Don't worry trying to bring back Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans back. Do another X-Men film. That's your money. That's where the money lies. This show is proof in the pudding that we want X-Men. We've always wanted X-Men done right. I have no issue with Bryan Singer's films, but they were not done right. They were done for the time, that version. But we want Wolverine in the costume. We want Cyclops the way he looked in the show. We want that version of Cyclops. Badassery. We want these versions of the characters that are properly executed on film. You already did the Avengers. Don't worry about them. Don't try to connect them together. We don't need you to connect them together. X-Men and Avengers work better when they're not connected. If you want to do some Avengers versus X-Men storyline down the road, there's a comic for that. I didn't like the comic, but if that's where you want to go, fine, go ahead. But in reality, you don't need them in the same world. When you have the X-Men on their own, when you have the Avengers on their own, that's when they strive. The X-Men strives better when you don't have the Avengers, because they're the only team in their world. And that's what Kevin Feige needs to focus on. All this extra shit, all this Ironheart shit, all this other shit that doesn't relate to anything, drop it. Move on. Focus on the fucking X-Men. The X-Men. Not no mutants. Not no X-Force. The X-Men. Charles Xavier's X-Men. Now, somebody said, oh, they might reboot it to the Uncanny X-Men. Fine, if that's what you want to do. I don't think that's a good idea. But cool, I like how the X-Men 97 did it, where they make reference to the team before. We don't need to see that. But if that's what they want to do, cool, go with that route. But Kevin Feige needs to really look in the mirror and see what's going on in this right here. The hype for the show, the buzz for the show, the reception for the show is there. This is what fans have been wanting. You can tackle those social issues, then you can tackle them, but do it in a way that's not beating over the head of people. But do it in a way that you're still telling the story and still getting the message across. The X-Men has always done that, and they have done it flawlessly. This show has proven you can still do it flawlessly and still get your point across without telling somebody they're a racist, they're a bigot, they're all this other shit. That's what they need to focus on. The X-Men is, when I say it's the most important comic book, important comics, superheroes, in history. I love the X-Men. Always have been a huge fan. You can tell how the way I'm talking about this property, how much it means to me. Like I said, I have my three. The X-Men from Marvel. We're not going with DC. But if you want to talk my three heroes, will be Superman, Spider-Man, the X-Men. But if you want to talk about Marvel, X-Men, Spider-Man, and Hulk were my top. But in order is X-Men, Spider-Man, and Hulk. But the X-Men have always been my favorite property. Hands down to this day. Nothing has topped it since to this day. Because they know how to tackle things in a smart fashion. What they used to with the old comic book writers. These new ones today, they know how to do a goddamn thing. The point I'm trying to make here, and I hope Kevin Feige, if you do see this video, if you don't see it, cool, whatever. Focus on the X-Men. Focus on this interpretation of the X-Men. If you want to set it in the 90s and focus on the 90s, I would say set in present day and just focus on these characters. Don't worry about the Avengers. We don't need to go into them. When you have the X-Men, you don't need the Avengers. Let that be a build-up. Let that be a build to the Avengers. We don't need the Avengers right now. We just need the X-Men. Done right. Done right. So, other than that, that's all I got to say on the matter. But, as always, guys, like, subscribe. Peace. Have a job today. What do you guys think? Why is the X-Men 97 so important right now? Why X-Men 97 is what Marvel Studio needs to do right now? So important. Well, you already know the title. It is what it is. As always, comment below, let me know, and I'll see you guys in the next video.